to another Friday 5 episode here on the Agent Survival Guide podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Ruppel, and we are back with 5 things that happened this week that you should know about. Today is Friday, September 26th, and coming in at number 5 this week, our countdown to AEP continues with 19 days left until the annual enrollment period begins on Wednesday, October 15th. And we've got just 5 days until plan details can be discussed with the public on Wednesday, October 1st. I know that many of you are probably setting up appointments, getting presentations ready. All of those last-minute details are starting to come together. Just a reminder that here at Ritter Insurance Marketing, we don't go anywhere during annual enrollment period. In fact, for us, this is the time that we prep for all year long. So don't forget about the resources you have through us, whether it's listening to an episode of this podcast, reading a post on our blog, attending a webinar, or reaching out to your sales rep to answer questions, just to name a few. We are here for you. And piggybacking off of that, at number 4, for those of you offering D-SNP plans in your portfolio, we just added 2 new PDFs that you can use during meetings with your dual eligible clients. The first is a client eligibility PDF that explains the qualifications for a D-SNP plan, as well as some benefits. It features the TPMO disclaimer at the bottom and can be customized with the amount of organizations and products you represent. And then the second is a D-SNP eligibility checklist for your client to fill in their doctor, provider, and prescription information. These items are compliance approved to be used with your clients, and you can use them separately, or you can use them in tandem as part of your D-SNP fact-finding conversation. We will have the links to both of those documents in our episode notes. Moving on to number 3. Doom scrolling is a danger that we all face, especially during the current media climate. But if you're looking for a way to find, follow, and engage with content that is not a dumpster on fire floating down a river, I have a suggestion for you. Separate social media accounts for different kinds of viewing experiences. It is a way to hack the algorithm, if you will. Social media algorithms take in a lot of information about us in order to serve us that next post. Things like the accounts you follow, what you watch, what you like, what you comment on. All of those factors add up to serve similar content back to you. Now, to use myself as an example, I have 2 Instagram accounts that I frequently use, and they are controlled by 2 very different algorithms. And that's because I curated specific experiences on each account. One is for work, the other is for fun. So the first is the Sarah J. Ruppel. It's my professional account. So I follow other insurance-related accounts, media outlets, journalists, authors, podcast companies, and other podcast hosts. I post about new episodes of the podcast as well as behind-the-scenes photos. I also post pretty sunrises and pictures of my cats doing cute and ridiculous things because that's what you post online. My other account, Seize the Sparkle, is a little different. I follow other nail bloggers, nail polish brands, fashion and beauty bloggers, brands I love, artists, other creatives, and a whole lot of cats. I post almost exclusively pictures of my nail polish. Now, when I'm looking for an update on what's going on in the news or what's happening in the industry, I'll scroll through my professional account. If it's any other time, I switch to my Seize the Sparkle account because I know the content there has been curated to be what I like, and I've set it up to be a positive experience. I can't recommend this approach enough, especially if you are a creative who likes being inspired by other creatives. Or you just want to have a feed full of cats doing funny things. There's plenty of that out there. And it's a great way to feel like you're not missing out on the social part of social media. But it also lets you curate the kind of experience that you have. And I think we all need the reminder that when it comes to social media, we tend to be what we consume. So consume thoughtfully, friends. Number 2, liquid glass has taken over all things Apple, including CarPlay, and there are a couple of new features that I've been enjoying. First up, the new CarPlay wallpaper in iOS 26. There is finally a purple option, and it does not look terrible when you put it on the screen. Next, Apple now has a dashboard view in CarPlay that is similar to Android phones. For a little while now, I have been envious of my husband's ability to have 3 app widgets appear on the screen at the same time. But no longer. I now have the same ability to view the map, Spotify, and whatever third app I'd like to have open. I'm a big fan of having the map up at all times while driving, but I also like to have Spotify open, so this new dashboard solves that for me. Another thing I noticed, more apps have been added to Apple CarPlay support. I used to have about 2 pages of apps. Now I'm up to 4. Still no Starbucks app on there, but I do now have Chick-fil-A, and that makes me happier than it probably should. This next feature, I haven't had the chance to try, but I am excited about it. The ability to use tap-back message responses in Apple CarPlay. Previously, I had to use voice commands to respond to text messages while driving. Now I can just boop the thumbs up or heart button to acknowledge that I've gotten a text message. That is super helpful as the mom of a tween who is still learning texting etiquette. And if you've noticed that the sizing of items on your display has changed, that is likely the result of another update, one that Apple calls Smart Display Zoom. This feature scales your car display to the new display settings available in iOS 26. Most users with the feature enabled should be able to see more app icons on each CarPlay page, and the Maps view on the dashboard will be noticeably larger than the default dashboard view. It's a change that makes the display feel larger than it actually is, so it's almost like getting 2 updates in one. You'll likely also notice updates in podcast listening apps like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. A zoomed-out display means more room for content and less scrolling. And as someone who frequently scrolls the new episodes feed on Spotify on my car display, this has been a welcome change. Now, not all Apple CarPlay models are compatible with Smart Display Zoom, and not all of them turn the feature on by default. So we'll be linking to more information in the episode notes, including a tutorial explaining how to turn on the zoom. And finally, coming in at number 1, let's talk about the pending expiration of the ACA Enhanced Premium Tax Credits. At our New Jersey summit, I was asked about the potential for the enhanced premium tax credits to be extended or renewed. And my answer at the time was that I did not see it happening, mainly because the timing would be awful for anything to be introduced, make its way through both the House and the Senate, and then get signed into law by President Trump. But apparently, there is chatter about an extension on both sides of the aisle. Some Democrats would like to address a potential extension in the government funding bill that needs to be passed by September 30th. Otherwise, the government will shut down on October 1st. Some Republicans argue that changes can be addressed during end-of-year reconciliation in December. Personally, I've got my fingers crossed for a bipartisan effort to come up with something and include it sooner rather than later, mainly because I think if we wait until December, it's going to be a bigger mess than if we were to make adjustments prior to the start of open enrollment on November 1st. At the time of this recording, subsidies are still set to expire at the end of 2025. We are watching what's going on in Washington, and we will be sure to update you if there's any movement on this issue. And depending on the day that does or does not happen, it might warrant a short bonus episode rather than waiting for a mention in our Friday 5. Another thing that I've noticed recently, more and more news outlets are talking about the expiration of the enhanced premium tax credits. I've definitely noticed an influx in articles talking about how much more expensive premiums are going to become with those subsidies going away. Some of them are doing a good job and they're citing numbers and statistics correctly. Others, well, not so much. And I think that if you're doing business in the under 65 market, you're going to want to know the ins and outs of what's going on. Make sure you're able to answer questions that your clients might have. I think I mentioned this before because of how much that process was publicized. We were all watching as the bill moved through Congress, was ultimately signed, and then saw many provisions vacated in the course of just one summer. So this is another area that's going to be important to stay updated, know what's going on, and be able to answer your clients' questions about why things are different. Explain what their options are. For some who had a silver level plan, that might be going down to a bronze level plan to keep things at a similar price point. For others, it might indeed mean paying more. It's all going to depend on the person, their circumstances, and what they've heard about the price changes. But if you're able to help them discern the truth from what they've heard and then help them find a solution, again, that kind of service is going to go a long way for your clients. Check out the episode notes for the links we mentioned here today, and be sure that you're following along with our show, following along with our blog, and that all of your contact info is up to date in our system here at Ritter Insurance Marketing. I know we send out a lot of emails over the course of the year. This, though, is a time and a season when you want to make sure you are receiving those emails so you don't miss anything super important. And if you have questions about anything, you'll also find our email in the episode notes. Send in a message with that question and we will get back to you. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. I hope you have a great weekend. Stay healthy and stay safe out there, and we will see you next week. The Agent Survival Guide podcast is a production of Ritter Insurance Marketing, an Integrity company. This episode was written and produced by me, Sarah Ruppel. Script editing and fact check by Tina Lamoureux. Podcast design by Urban Rivera. Follow along with our show wherever you like to listen.